Just while we're talking about infrastructure, the speakers that you're using are all internally powered speakers. All right? If for some reason, just for the sake of troubleshooting, if for some reason you turn everything on and you just don't have audio, when you think you should have audio, you see meters, you see everything, not getting any audio, the first thing to check would be, are your speakers off? Did a breaker trip? Did the sequencing maybe get out of sync and go wonky and something didn't happen to what was supposed to happen? All right. So we haven't decided yet. These do have a power light on the front of them. So you've got the choir monitor, these two main speakers, and the subs. It's going to be Lauren's call if he wants to leave those lights on. We can, they have a menu that you can turn the lights off if you don't want the distraction of the lights. But you can always look at the back of the speaker and see the display and see if it's lit up. And as long as the display is lit up, that means it's got power and you should be getting audio. Okay? So powered speakers, it's a little different animal. If something goes wrong with that powered speaker, it's all up there in the box. There's not I can't swap in an amplifier and get through a Sunday morning. It's kind of all or nothing. Benefits to a powered speaker is that it also means that all the processing and all of the peak limiting and stuff that protects the speaker, that's all built in the box as well. You can't bypass it. So that means somebody comes in and really just abuses the system has a chance to live. Good and bad parts, but be aware that you've got powered speakers. This is the same as what you had before. Different model, different brand, but functionally you were using powered speakers before, so it's kind of the same drill. Also, the floor monitors, same deal. Those are powered internally, so they have to have a power connection and they have to have an audio connection. Okay? And those are very similar to what you had before as well. All right, any questions about any of that?
Do we need to go over any of the plugins on the side of the monitors?
We can look at that real quick. There are several things on the side of the monitors that you could potentially hook up into these monitors like 14 different ways. They basically made this as a benefit, but in my eyes, it's dangerous because there's a lot of things you can kind of mess up. As the default, when you hook up these monitors, you want to hook up to input 1, and you can see this as a combo jack. It will accept a microphone jack or a 1/4-inch instrument jack, either one. Okay. Then you have a volume level for that input right above it, and then you have a master volume. Okay. So if for some reason somebody plugs into the monitor and they aren't getting sound, first three things to check, is the monitor on? Did they hit the power switch? Okay. Is it on? Secondly, is the volume above their input turned up at least to 12 o'clock? Thirdly, is the master volume turned up? Okay. Now, I would recommend that you would kind of develop, between you and Lauren, whatever, you would develop kind of a default setting for this. Because the last thing you want to do, and I would definitely not let the musicians reach down here and start changing the volume on their monitors. Because the last thing you want to do is set up a monitor in a hurry on a Sunday morning, not even have a chance to try it, and pastor walks up to it and we have a massive feedback. That's the first thing for Sunday morning, right? So I would develop a kind of a standard deal, like master volume is always at whatever, 0 or -10 or whatever. This is always at 12 o'clock. We always use input 1. We don't use input 2, et cetera, whatever. You also have inputs for like a CD player, like these little RCA jacks. You have a through, which if I wanted to link these two monitors together, I could have this monitor plugged into the floor, getting the signal from the board, and then I could just come from this through jack into the input of that monitor, and now we'd have both monitors getting the same signal. All right. I don't know the use case that you would necessarily use that much, but you can do it if you want to. This mix output is actually designed that you could take. This is almost like you could use it for a little bar gig or something, like a singer guitar player type setup or something. You could have your guitar plugged in here, your mic plugged in here, your backing tracks plugged in there, and then you could then use this as a main speaker, and you could actually use this mix out to send a mix of all of those things to the other speaker. So that's what that mix out is for. If I just want to loop the input 1 straight through to the other speaker, that's what this through jack is. That's why these are connected like they are. Okay, so normal condition, plug into input 1, that gain setting is at noon, and then we decide whatever the master volume normally is, and we leave it at that normal volume. Then I've got control of it back at the board.